Yo, welcome back to the Nerds and Glasses podcast. I am your host, Knowledge.
And I'm Javi. Man, this week is going to be a busy week.
Busy. We got a lot of games to do this week.
A lot of games.
But you've been playing a game already. We got early access, and you've been playing The Evil Within.
The Evil Within, what is it? The Resident Evil creator, touch like his grace again. He's gracing us again.
Yeah.
It's, it's very much in the light of those games. Like, it's that third-person action horror, or not action horror, survival horror.
It's more of a survival horror than
and it definitely is.
horror.
It's definitely not one of those games where you can just go around guns blazing.
Yeah. And
definitely not.
So, okay, let me ask you. You've been playing it. I'm gonna edit it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna ask you a couple questions.
Okay.
First, is it scary?
Yes. In the very beginning, I was it's just one of those things, like the anticipation of dying.
Yeah.
It was really high in the very beginning, like the early game.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's getting a little bit less. The lower level enemies don't scare me as much.
Yeah.
But it's the bosses and the harder characters are definitely like, what do I do? I'm running around, I can't do shit.
Yeah.
And especially when, like, right now I'm at a part where I have no ammo.
Yeah, that's scary. That's terrifying.
That's always fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
The story is really, I like the way it is, because it's a very theatrical, cinematic way. Like, there's black bars on the top and bottom.
Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed here, because we thought something was wrong, and it's like, there's
Where's
the
the
whole
1080p option.
Yeah, there's the widescreen. The whole game is in widescreen letterbox.
Mm-hmm. And it also does that whole grain. The
heavy, little filter, grain, okay. Yeah, no, it looks really stylistic. I think just from what I've seen, it looks like the story's gonna be really good. Mm-hmm. But I've seen you play it a little bit. You got a little frustrated.
Yeah, it's one of those things. This is definitely a game I'll compare it to something like The Last of Us. Like, a little bit, not as much, but I'm not a big fan of the third person. Stealth horror games.
Yeah.
It just makes things like unnecessarily hard, But it's more because I'm used to games where you actually can compete with the enemies you're fighting.
Yeah.
They're harder, but in this game is basically you shouldn't be able to compete with them, and they make your character not be able to compete with them. And I was never a big fan of the third person over especially for shooters. I have a hard time moving the camera around. Where I want it.
Now, do you think that somebody who likes survival horror, or does somebody who likes stealth, you think they'll like this game, or is it just even? I mean, because overall you like it.
Yeah, right? The gameplay is fine. I mean, like I said, I do get frustrated. Like, I'm running away or I'm trying to sneak by, and I'm looking at someone. But especially with the bars, they kind of hinder your movement, your camera movement, so it's kind of annoying. But I'll be looking over something, I'll hear someone from far away, and I cross a corner, and he ends up being right there. I'm like, I just heard what?
Well, and that might be a design, game design right there too.
Yeah. So it's one of the things I'm not very good on. I'm not I don't like going stealth. There's some parts especially once I run out of ammo, there was I think a good 4 checkpoints. That I just completely kind of lured the zombies around and then ran past them. This game does give you the option that you don't have to fight them.
Yeah.
Even if they see you, you can just run away.
Nice. So that at least.
Exactly. Because
very least.
I run out of ammo too fast.
So last question is, who would you recommend the game to? Survival horror fans? Would you recommend it to shooter fans? Would you recommend it to stealth fans?
Not so much shooter fans, because it does do the whole Resident Evil stop kind of to shoot, just like third-person shoot. A lot of third-person shooters have the very slowed down movement and the slow aim reticle. There's so many times I'm aiming down my sights trying to shoot the zombie's head, and he's bobbing and weaving, and my gun is bobbing and weaving because of the way it is. And I think I have it on the right spot, but the shot goes 20 miles from his right.
In the wrong direction. What the fuck?
The only accurate gun in the whole game seems to be the shotgun and the sniper. The shotgun, obviously, and the sniper, obviously.
You don't need to be accurate. You don't need to be accurate with the shotgun.
But I do like it has a kind of not necessarily a crafting, but it does have similar to not as heavy as Resident Evil, but it does have that inventory kind of thing.
Yeah, where you can build your guns or.
Yeah, mostly I think it's one item you can build, but there is a different section where you can build up your individual gun.
Okay.
Like kind of like imagine like in a game where you stop your progress to like skill trees and stuff like that. Something like along those lines.
Yeah. All right. Well, would you recommend it to somebody who likes
survivor horror
stories?
The story wise, it's good.
So anybody who enjoys a story game,
yeah, if you can get past because I enjoy a good story game, but sometimes the gameplay will ruin the story for me. So if you're not a fan of survival horror, if you're not a fan of like the clunky movement that these games tend to have, I suggest you don't get it. But if you like games like Resident Evil, if you like The Last of Us. Just gameplay wise, not story wise, because they're completely different. Yeah. But if you like that kind of gameplay, you should definitely check it out. Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, they want to get scared. They want to get scared.
See, you probably like I get immersed in the game. Like I'm not gonna be able to sleep for the next 3 days
because you're gonna be seeing blood in hallways.
And not only that, at my other job, I'm sure because it's all hallways.
Yeah.
It's just gonna I'm just gonna
if one light flickers in this motherfucker, I'm done. I quit.
Yeah, because the game does that a lot too. Just the flickering lights. God, why is that so scary to me?
It is just because it is scary. All right, so a bunch of other games. We're gonna do a little game roundup for this week. There's a bunch of games coming out. The main ones though, Ryse already came out.
Yeah, Ryse came out for the. Well, it was already out.
It's been out for almost a year now, but it came out for the PC. We played it.
PC fans.
Yeah, it was on the PC. It looks better. It doesn't look that much better. You get all the DLC. It is cheaper. It's a $40 game.
Yeah, I mean.
So it's not that bad. I think that if you haven't played it and you enjoy a good story, that's worth the purchase.
The graphics are amazing. The story is very interesting.
Yeah, the gameplay sucks. Like the gameplay is one of those where it's super stylistic, but it's so repetitive. It's mind-numbingly repetitive. It's like the same X, Y, Y.
I wonder if people that because we play shooters a lot. Yeah. If people that play those kind of games a lot look at shooters and it's just repetitive shooting. You're just shooting over and over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, we play. Yeah. The thing is, we play shooters online, so it's always new.
It's always different.
It's a new experience. But yeah, I mean, if you want to get a good story, Ryse is an interesting story. Although it has you'll have to throw in Roman history out the window.
It's Roman super quotes.
Yeah,
it's based on super actual. You know what I mean? It's not anything. I mean, it's super.
History was butchered. They should do one of those. You know how they say no dogs were harmed in the making of this. They should be
30 historians died reading the script.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking terrible on that end, but it's worth a try. For $40, I would buy it. Sleeping Dogs, the definitive edition.
Yeah, Sleeping Dogs, a GTA, another GTA style game.
Yet another remastered game.
Another remastered game. We're not gonna go into that again.
Yeah, I mean this one's definitely worth picking up because it's a good game.
Yeah, and the graphics weren't too good. They weren't. When I played the game, I remember the graphics didn't catch me. They were some parts were just really weird looking.
Yeah, the textures are really kind of low res, but I saw the graphics comparison and I saw it had better color. But it's hard to tell on the internet because it's just the compression. Yeah. The compression of videos, you can't ever really tell
but I also think it's a game that was also very I guess not many people picked it up.
Yeah, really underappreciated. You said you liked it better than GTA.
I don't like GTA, and I like this game. Same thing with what was it? Watch Dogs. I like that game, but I didn't I just don't like. I don't know. I don't like the story of GTA, but this game was it was a great, interesting undercover cop story.
And in Hong Kong.
It's a very vibrant city life. Yeah. And then just the combat is really in depth.
Yeah, a lot more than GTA.
Yeah, I think GTA is you run up and punch, right?
Yeah. Well, there's gun mechanics.
Well, there's gun mechanics. But I'm saying just the actual combat. There's I remember I would just go up to people and depending on what you did, you would run up to them, jump, and then snap their leg in half. It was
oh shit.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get this movie out. Yeah, we're gonna show 10 snap legs in a row. We're gonna do a snap leg montage.
Yeah, because GTA, I love GTA. I love playing GTA just for I think it was the GTA 5.
Yeah.
I forgot which character it was that does it, but he does just a sucker punch, running sucker punch.
Yeah.
And I remember I punched someone, and they were near a wall. They just hit the wall and just like stood, and then slowly went down. Like you heard the crack. It was awesome. But this game does even more because it's like you just feel it, which is kind of sick, but
it is. It actually, speaking of that, just really side tangent with that, they're making this new game called Triad Wars, which is the spiritual successor of Sleeping Dogs. It's made by the same company.
Oh, okay.
Takes place, but it's a free-to-play online game. It's basically GTA Online, but I'm guessing they're trying to make it way better. But it was funny listening. They have a making of little documentary thing. I put it up on the channel, but it was just funny to me that they were saying like, yeah, in our game you can really feel like coming up as a gangster. You can feel that rush of taking over the city. You know, like And it's just kind of like I understand what they're saying. Like that's trying to attract fans, but just hearing them say that sounds so like ridiculous. Like, oh yeah, you can be a gangster. And you can live out your fantasies to kill people. Like it's just like, what the fuck, dude?
So someone's like the NSA or someone's has tap on these guys.
Yeah,
right?
right, exactly. That if I were NSA and CIA and all that, I would keep tabs on all these people.
I would keep tabs on everyone that plays video games. Like honestly, like
I heard recently. This is a little political thing that ISIS was recruiting kids on GTA Online. Like, which makes sense too. But that's a whole other. You know, we'll talk about that next week. We'll do like a whole little section on it because that's a cool political. Not cool, but that's a interesting political issue.
Yeah, because it's definitely not. I wouldn't say cool. It's definitely interesting.
Yeah, because ISIS is not cool. All right, and last game, we want to talk about your favorite series.
One of my favorite series out of the many that I have. Which include Pokemon, Smash Brothers, and this.
Okay, but I seen you spend a lot of money on this game. Borderlands, the pre-sequel's coming out, which is the story taking place between 1 and 2.
Between 1 and 2.
Between 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
So, are you excited about this
I am very excited. 1, to be honest, the story for 1 wasn't... It didn't leave me at the end wanting too much. It was kind of like... It didn't feel finished right, or I don't know. It was something weird. And, I mean, the comedy in the game was overall good in the first one, but overall it didn't feel well put together story-wise.
Yeah.
The second one, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it was part of it to do because of the writer. That was a different writer, but it was amazing. It was great. And then the character, you hate him so much, but he's such an asshole. But at the same time, he's one of the greatest villains I've ever encountered in a video game.
Who's that? What are you talking
Handsome
about?
Jack.
And he's gonna be the protagonist in this game.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because you're actually still the bad guy. Like you're playing as a bad guy. You're playing as a bad guy taking over this base on the moon, pretty much putting to power the guy you fight in Borderlands 2. So I mean, they have some different mechanics because when they're on the moon. But I don't know. I'm not expecting too much, to be honest, because it's a sequel to the Borderlands 2, so they can't have too much more than what they have for Borderlands 2. You know what I mean?
They don't care about that.
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
I mean,
but that's what I'm saying. That's one of the things as you would like for the new game to have different thing, and it does have it does take into account the 0Gs, the oxygen. Like you have an oxygen mask that apparently doesn't hinder the gameplay too much, but you will die if or your HP will go down. But you use it as your boost. Yeah. So you have to alternate between saving it for yourself and then using it as a boost for yourself.
Well, I mean, what I was saying too about, I was like, they'll put new stuff in there. They don't care.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like in Halo and Reach, the DMR. It was the new gun, and I was just like, "What? This game takes place before all the other games. Why isn't the DMR in the other 3 games?"
One thing I'm really excited to learn is one of the characters, Claptrap, in Borderlands 2 can't climb stairs. And that's just a thing. At the end, we're going to go fight the final boss, and he has this epic speech going. And then the doors open. Stairs! So, and in Borderlands 1, he was able to climb stairs. Yeah. And I remember.
So it's going to explain.
Yeah, there was actually a tweet, I believe, that I think it was Anthony Birch or someone from Gearbox saying that it would explain.
Why?
Or maybe not explain, directly, but it will imply or indirectly tell us why he can't walk upstairs.
Okay. Stairs? Just so stupid.
Yeah.
And that's the type of humor in the game. It's like, you can't climb stairs, bro. Like,
he's a little robot with a wheel.
Yeah, it's like really off kilter. Really off kilter.
And it's funny because he says he lists his weaknesses and he lists literally everything in the world.
Yeah.
but
Yeah. So we're gonna be playing that one this week. And that one we're going to take our time on because it's a long game probably.
Yeah,
well, see, that's the thing I don't know too. I don't know. I mean, I know it's a full title, but I'm not taking it as a full Borderlands title.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
That's how I feel about it too. I don't know if I should feel like as it a whole new game because a lot of people were saying that it's probably going to feel more like a DLC for Borderlands 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, to be honest, I wouldn't mind. It's just the price. That's the only.
It's a full retail, right?
It's a full retail game, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. Gearbox really hasn't fucked us over yet, or any as gamers as far as
Aliens, Space Marines. Or
yeah,
wasn't that them? I mean, they didn't fuck it up apparently.
The thing was, they didn't make it, but I guess they did fuck it up because they published it.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that it's their fault, but they did
they were involved.
Yeah.
People thought that they were making it, but it wasn't them. Mm-hmm. They hired somebody else to do it, which I guess I don't know if you want to call that deceptive. I guess it is.
It's the same thing with it's the same thing. I hate when Christopher Nolan or
produced by
Steven Spielberg
from the creators of
Peter. I was just like, okay, that's just why do you need to? You don't need to put the name I mean, it just doesn't make. If it's not directed by them, they don't have any influence.
Yeah.
There's no way they're gonna have influence if they're just a producer.
Yeah, exactly. And it is deceptive. It's just so you can go watch the movie and go, oh shit, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, a lot of people will go to the movie and be like, oh, he's directing? No, bro. He's
producing.
He produced. He believes in this guy.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. Well, before I knew what produced meant, I was like, that's okay, that's good. And
that means we watch a bunch of shitty movies.
Yeah, it's just like, bro, I don't believe in Steven Spielberg anymore. What the fuck? So Assassin's Creed is in the middle of a controversy right now. Right? We read this article and it's been going around a little bit. A lot of people have been talking about it.
Right.
Is the fact that is the creative director or somebody at Ubisoft.
I believe it was Alex something. I can't remember the name right now, but it was the creative director.
Yeah.
Because how many games have we been reading getting pushed and pushed and pushed to be 1080, to be 60 frames?
Yeah.
I think almost every game has been saying oh, we have 1080.
That's literally you can literally open a whole other section of IGN just dedicated to articles about 1080p.
Do it and don't.
Yeah, you can do whole controversy articles about, oh my god, it's not 1080p, it's 900 or blah blah blah. So anyways, he said that the Assassin's Creed is gonna be 900p and 30 frames per second
on both consoles. Just it's not gonna be 1080 on the PS4. It's apparently gonna be not 1090. It's gonna be 900 on both.
Yeah. So here's the controversy is twofold. First, the first part of it is that PS4 fans are mad at saying that PS4 can do 1080 and 60 frames and Xbox One can't, and that they're doing that so that there's parity between both of the ones. And that sounds about right. I mean, I don't know if that's true. The thing is, of course, they say that's not the reason, and of course, fans say that is the reason.
Yeah, of course we are.
So either way, I don't give a fuck. 900p or 1080, obviously 1080 will look a little better, but not really.
It'll look better on a big monitor.
I mean, because I remember, for example, to me, to this day, and I played every big new next gen title. The best looking next gen game is Ryse. Out of all the ones I've seen, and I've seen Killzone, I've seen Infamous, the best looking one by far is Ryse.
Even
and
Destiny, Ryse still looks better.
Yeah, dude, Destiny's not even that's not even in the conversation because they definitely, their shit is a little older. But Ryse is by far the best looking one.
It's the newest game, performance, at least look wise, it's the newest looking game.
Yeah, exactly.
Pushes.
And that one came out in fucking November last year, and that shit still looks the best one. But my whole point is that game's 900p. That doesn't mean shit to me. It doesn't mean anything. So, I mean, I can understand why PS4 fans would be angry. I don't care. I have both consoles. Whatever. I still get it on the Xbox One if I had to choose, because I like the controller better.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's part of the controversy. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that Ubisoft is doing it on purpose because of the Xbox One can't hang,
like,
or?
But that's the thing. Like, I don't think they would. Actually, no, they would do. I mean, a company would do that. There's no doubt. But
like, what's the benefit of it though? I don't understand.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing I'm trying. Anyone would do that, to put, like, a company would do that, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they could. But I don't see the reason. It would cause too much backlash.
Exactly.
If they did it, like, for that reason. Like, granted they're doing it anyways and they're getting backlash anyways. But
and then I guess the real question is, then did Microsoft give them money to do that? But like, that's what everybody wants to say first. But to me, it doesn't. All these stories always get out. So I don't. If they think that the story is not gonna get leaked somehow, then they're stupid. Like, they're literally stupid. If they think
we're
this,
just gonna have to wait till next week and we find out that it is a story. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's, maybe they were just like, we don't see the point of pushing it to the 1080. Like, having to do that. Like, it looks perfect with 30 frames.
Yeah.
It looks perfect with 900. Why do we need to make it 1080 when you?
Yeah, and I think what people gotta consider, this is the main point, is like, here's what I say is, I don't think they would do it because they wouldn't do that on purpose just so the Xbox One could be on the same playing field, because it doesn't benefit Ubisoft at all. So I think the thing you have to remember in this case is that they're developing the game for both consoles. So that it's not, and it's a short development cycle. And not only that, like, they're making 2 Assassin's Creed games on 2 separate platforms, Rogue and Unity, right? So I mean, obviously it's not the same studio making both of them, but still, it's just like, it's a short. It's still Ubisoft. So like,
micromanage.
So I think it's one of those things where I think, they could get it at 1080p and 60 frames per second on the PS4, but do any of you really understand the engineering behind it? Because I don't, and I don't know what it takes. I don't think it's just a copy and paste. Like, okay, let's copy like the Xbox, and like paste it onto this PS4.
It's just like, drag it from this screen to this screen.
And we're good.
They'll transfer right.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
There's no problem between. So I mean, and I'm curious because I mean, some games I heard that the Xbox One can do 1080. It's just harder for the developers to do it, I guess. Yeah, it's a little bit more complicated than just doing the 900.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, there is, like, Forza's 1080. There's games out there that are 1080, 60 frames already, but it does seem that it is harder for some reason to do it on the Xbox One. Not that it's not capable, but maybe it's some engineering thing.
They had I remember reading a story that they had a firmware to update the Xbox One just to make it a little bit easier. Yeah, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then because Destiny was going to be 900 and on the Xbox One and 1080 on the PS4, and then they did this firmware update, and then Bungie announced, okay, we're going to be able to do 1080 on the Xbox One.
I wonder if they had to, like, if Microsoft had to pay a little bit extra for them to be able to do that,
I don't know. Like, I mean, I just, like,
that seems like extra work for Bungie that they don't need to do.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I think Bungie would do it because they want to satisfy their fans, and that's what it comes down to. So to me, it doesn't make sense for Ubisoft to on purpose make them 930 frames.
If they think that, like, if they were to think 1080 looks better but still go 900, that doesn't make sense. Maybe they actually, like, maybe the game just does run smoother. Like, it doesn't need to have those 60 frames. It's not that kind of like shooter game.
Here's the other part of the argument is this whole 30 and 60 frames per second thing. And like, I think a shooter, a fighting game has to be 60 frames per second for it to run to feel good. If they're not 60 frames per second, then
you need that time.
You need that smooth. Yeah, exactly. A lot of companies, and this is not only like, see, you want to say it's only Xbox One or PS4 thing. It's not, because the PS4, for example, has the Order 1866. I believe that's the year, the name of the game.
Yeah.
But I remember that I think 2-3 months ago they announced that they're just gonna do 30 frames per second.
And shooter, right?
Yeah, and it's like a Gears of War third-person type shooter game.
Okay.
Right, and then so it was 30 frames per second. It's a story-only game. It's not an online shooter. Okay, so everybody was like outraged. It's like, what? This is crazy. How can you not give us 60 frames per second? The guy then argued and he said he feels that 30 frames per second is more cinematic.
It's better, much better for a story.
Okay. Now, if you guys don't believe me, then that's fine. But, well, I mean, it's not believe, it's opinion.
It's definitely more of a subjective thing. Like,
yeah.
Like, most people will look at a 60 frames game and be fine. But once they see a 60 frames, like, cutscene or something, they'll be like, what's going on? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But the 30 frames is just nice and, like, it's weird because it's smoother. You know what I mean? Even though the 60 frames is supposed to be smoother, but when you're playing, it's like a little bit of a like. you're like
I don't know how to explain. It's so weird. Let me try to explain this the best I can. Back in early 1900s, okay, we're gonna go all the way back. Okay, back in early 1900s, maybe like 1919, they developed the first like 60 frames per second camera. Back then, but they decided. As some collective is one of those things that you decide, but you don't really talk about. Yeah, Illuminati decided this. They decided that they're gonna make films 24 frames per second,
which is what the human eye can read.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I know I've heard something like that too. The science, but the whole point is, they decided 24 frames per second. So for the past 100 years, as a society, as a world, we've been watching films and stuff, cinematic stuff, at 24 frames per second, right? And then when TV came around and started getting bigger, they decided on 30 frames per second. So TV's at 30 frames. So it's one of those things where I don't think that it's better, but I just think that's what the fuck you're used to watching. So like when you see a cutscene and honest to God 60 frames per second, like because if you think you've seen it on YouTube, you haven't, because YouTube doesn't do 60 frames per second. At least they're starting to, but not really, not yet. Anyways. Yeah, your eye is used to seeing 30 frames per second. That's most of the things you watch in your life are 30 frames per second. Every time you go to the movie theater, it's 24 frames per second. So that's what whatever it is, it looks normal to you.
Isn't like so many people have like, especially with like 60 frames per second games, motion sickness.
Yeah,
is a big problem.
Yeah,
like it just doesn't. It's not normal for them, so they're just like whoa, calm down.
When they first, like somebody who doesn't play games and you throw them into like a Call of Duty game, they're like, what the fuck? Like, it's just too much going on. Like, that's the same way when the LED TVs first came out, because those are like 60 frames per second. They just look like.
Have you seen that telenovela in 60 frames?
Yeah, like it looks weird. It looks like they're right there or some shit. Like it's just.
You're just like you're like what is it? Peeping Tom.
Yeah,
like, just outside their window.
Yeah, it's just so weird, dude, and that's why when a shooter isn't 60 frames per second, you feel the difference. Why? Because you're used to playing shooters at 60 frames per second.
Games are big.
Exactly.
The 60 frames helps with the precision of the combos and stuff. Like, those extra frames, that doubles the time you have to activate the frame.
Yeah.
So I mean,
so it definitely makes a difference.
Yeah.
But in a game like The Order, where the guy could just be talking out of his ass, and really they couldn't get 60 frames because they couldn't figure it out. But like, it does make sense to me that a story-only game would be 30 frames per second. Like
even a multiplayer, because I'm sure Assassin's Creed's gonna have multiplayer. Yeah. I don't see why that needs to be 60.
Yeah, because you don't need dude. That's like the most forgiving. Like you can jump toward a wall and like not even be close, and he'll grab the wall. It's not like. You don't need to be super precise. Yeah. The auto aim is fucking insane on all the guns and shit.
Isn't it just like the best quick scoping?
It's just like, and that's what it like. That's like The Last of Us on PS3 was 30 frames, and then it was 60 frames on PS4. But it's just like, dude, the auto aim is crazy. You don't need to have, you don't
need to hit that right there.
Yeah, that person. You just need to get within like 5 feet of the head, and lock onto it.
You just need to be turned around. Dude, I remember I think I was playing, I got turned around completely.
Yeah.
I was aiming at one zombie, and I did a complete 180, and was aiming at another zombie when I shot.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Like, you got an aimbot? Like,
sometimes there's a wall. You're just like, the cursor's just like moving up the wall. You're like, what?
Yeah, like Black Ops 2. Yeah, Black Ops 2 does that shit.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. But anyways, just to kind of close the argument, if I would say like if Ubisoft did that because they want to keep Xbox like on par, that's like the dumbest thing they've ever done.
Why would they?
What's the point of that? Like, you know, I don't understand why they would do that.
I don't even know which one are they more popular on, which one are they more loyal to. I don't even think they are more loyal to one or the other.
Yeah, and if anything, wouldn't they want to satisfy the PS4 owners because that's who sold the most right now? Yeah. So it doesn't make any sense.
Unless they want to get both markets still, you know.
Yeah,
but then they would still hinder their kid. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Like whatever happens in the market happens. They can't control that by trying to manipulate. It doesn't make sense. Now, if Microsoft paid them, that makes sense. But it doesn't make sense to me why Microsoft would pay them. Yeah. You know, like because the story's gonna get out regardless. Like I don't care. They have the biggest leaks in any industry. Only two people know. Yeah, like
that third person knows.
Yeah, the guy's wife is gonna know, or the woman's husband's gonna know for sure. Next thing we want to talk about was this Destiny thing, which was.
So Destiny.
Yeah. Destiny. All right, let's get back to Destiny. Everybody wants to talk about Destiny.
I love Destiny. You whatever about Destiny.
I'm kind of blah 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 about Destiny.
The world is split in half about Destiny. It seems like.
I know, but for some reason everybody keeps playing it. Yeah. I saw a report that they're averaging like 3.2 million players a day. Like which is a lot. I mean, it's spread out over 4 consoles, but that's a lot.
It's still a lot.
That's a lot. That means that each one would be averaging like what 3.2, so like 800,000. Yeah. Like that's fucking crazy. And then obviously that's not even because the Xbox One and PS4 don't have even that many users. Yeah, like unlike the PS3 and it's on the 360. Like trust me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, PS3. Who I forgot. You know, the PS4 has done so well. I forgot how bad the PS3 did
online. Yeah, but anyways, there is this video. A couple people got this glitch on Destiny where they would be locked out of the game. But when they would go, so like what would happen is they couldn't select any mission, but at the same time it would show
everything.
It showed like on every section it showed like 5 extra missions, an extra strike. Like it had all these names and titles.
What was it, Bottled Wolf or something?
Yeah, it was like they literally seemed like that's what the expansion is gonna be. It's gonna be like 5 new missions on every section, a new strike, a new raid, you know. I don't know, like it was a crazy thing to see because I was hoping that they were gonna have a new fucking planet.
I don't know. When I think expansion, I think like a new area. Like I'm curious because you know, like for your subclass, you have 2 slots. There's only 1 taken up. There's only technically you can have 3. It looks like.
Yeah, there's an extra slot, and then there's 2 taken up. You only have
2, so is that going to be part of an expansion? Yeah. And it's kind of weird because this expansion is coming out literally like 2 months after the game.
For real, it's coming out in December.
Or 3, whatever. Yeah.
So this is gonna take us into a long argument about different things. The first thing I want to talk about was if this is what the expansion is gonna be. And there's already on the maps, the same maps we have. Do you think that it's on disc already?
I hope, man. If it's all on disc already, that sucks. Because when I think expansion, I don't think of something that is just like a small thing. Because that's what on disc stuff is. It's not really that big of a DLC. Like it's just literally like something that was in the game, but they cut.
Yeah. So I mean, just so you know exactly what we're talking about is like, for example, the first section is Earth. Old Russia, right? And there's 5 missions, 1 patrol, and 1 strike, right? Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, so like when you see this glitch, the person is on Old Russia, and now he sees instead of 5 missions, he sees 10 missions.
Yeah.
He sees 2 strikes. He sees 2 patrols.
Like that kind of sucks. Because I was hoping for something like, even if they don't put new planets, a different section of her. Like
exactly.
Like North Americas or the South Americas.
Yes. Thank you.
The dark side of the moon. Something like they would have been perfect. Just dark side of the moon.
What the fuck, dude?
Instead of, but if it's just gonna be the same exact old Russia, I'm gonna be very disappointed.
Yeah, because it does get. I guess not boring.
I don't get bored of it, but it's just, it
gets repetitive being on the same map.
Yeah, it does get repetitive, but we are supposedly having this thing that we were expecting them to put more. If it's just gonna be the same big map with just another one section opened up, that's not gonna do it for me.
No, that's.
I'm still gonna play it, but
that's the thing. You're still gonna buy it, for sure, because you like the game. You're still gonna play it, but you're gonna be kind of upset about it for about 2 hours, and then you're just gonna. And
then I'm gonna play for 8 days, and then be mad again.
Yeah, it's like fuck, this is it. No, but to me, if it's on disc already, and they're just gonna unlock it, that is one of the biggest criminal fucking things that any company's ever done.
I hope it wasn't Bungie. I hope they didn't have to say. I want to think it's I want to think in my head that it was Activision was you guys have this amazing game and it's really long, but we want to make a lot of money, so
we're gonna cut it up.
Cut it into 3 pieces and packages and expansions. Oh my god, we're geniuses.
And Bungie's like, fuck, you own us. We signed this contract. We have to do what the fuck you say. That's what it feels like. Because for one, the story doesn't feel complete. For one. No. Okay. For 2, the content feels short. It feels like there's not enough content.
Yeah, they did Halo and they have 4 different multiplayer options. There's nothing I know Halo doesn't have a huge, but they had all these different things, and then this one is just it has control. It has I was expecting more,
Yeah, that's a good point, because you think about their last game they did that before that was Halo Reach. Now Halo Reach has a 10-hour campaign. It has Forge. It has theater mode, which a lot of people have fun with. It has Firefight. And it has multiplayer online.
Yeah, and multiplayer has a bunch of options.
Yeah, and
Regicide was one of my favorite game types.
Custom games, and it has so much more to offer. I guess I could, I could understand they're making a whole new thing here, so I understand that it's difficult. But it just seems to me like it was a bigger game and they cut it up. It just really feels like that's what fucking happened. And I could be 100% wrong. And if they ever prove me wrong, if an article comes out of the show, that's fine. I'm not. But you
can't deny that the game doesn't feel complete.
Yeah,
and that, especially with this coming out, it's damn, this game wasn't complete.
And it leads me to the argument about DLC in general, which we talked about before. But I think this brings back that argument is I like DLC. A lot of people hate DLC.
Yeah, because they feel it's kind of pushes the company to pull out the game fast and then throw out this extra content for money.
Yeah, that should have been in the game in the first place. And I think, and I don't even remember when DLC first came around. I remember Halo 2 had DLC maps. I don't remember when DLC started making extra stories. I don't know. I need to look into it. But
yeah, the first DLC story I bought was Borderlands and BioShock Infinite. The first Borderlands. Those were the only stories.
And that's recent. That was a year or two at the most ago.
Exactly. I don't buy most of them. I did buy the Assassin's Creed 4 one.
Yeah.
But I haven't bought a lot of them.
And I guess the whole thing to me is just
story.
There's the story ones, and the spirit of DLC is the point is we poured our heart and soul and everything we have into making this game. Now we're done with this game. Now after we're done,
here's something else.
So many people love this game that we want to dive into this world again. We don't want to leave this world yet. We want to explore different things in the world.
Just as much as I hated The Last of Us, they had a really good DLC.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
BioShock Infinite, great story. You could feel, it was a great, amazing, well-rounded story or whatever. and then they had a great story DLC.
Yeah, and they played different too. That was a great thing.
Yeah, that was amazing. Like the first one played similar, and then the second one was all stealth. It was like, what?
It was like a whole different type of game with the same engine, same world. Yeah, like I enjoy that stuff, but then this other part of it now seems like it's just a cash grab. That's what most companies are. Which, okay, I know companies are trying to make money. I'm not naive to that. I understand that.
Skylanders, Disney Infinity.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like Disney Infinity. Yeah, they just did.
Like they have all the. I think if I'm not mistaken, they have all their content on the game, but you need the figures to unlock it. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if that's how it works, but that's how it seems like it works.
Yeah. Well, it's a cash grab. Yeah.
Exactly.
Same thing with like Amigo or whatever. Amiibo.
I'm buying that. Don't say shit like
that. That's bullshit. No, but yeah, the spirit of DLC to me, I like that. Like, for example, the new Assassin's Creed, Unity.
Rogue. Wait, is it
Unity?
Oh, I'm sorry, Unity.
Unity,
right, yeah.
And it has. They already announced the season pass, which is okay. Like that was like Call of Duty started that season pass shit, where it's like you're promised DLC before you even play the game, you know. So it doesn't make any sense to me, but still, people buy it.
Yeah, I can understand the season pass coming out like a month after the game, when they're actually planning on making DLC.
Yeah,
but this is before the game even comes out, before they probably have any DLC ready.
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
So this Assassin's Creed one looks cool because they actually give you like a whole other game that's a side scroller. They give you a whole other story that's a extra story.
Yeah,
mission.
I wonder how long it's gonna be. I mean, even if it's like an hour or two, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like it doesn't need to be that long, but that type of stuff that seems to me like in the spirit, the positive spirit of the DLC, which is we made this game, but now we're gonna explore different things in the game. We're not just gonna kind of extend it. And the same thing with Assassin's Creed 4, the Freedom Cry.
Yeah, the Freedom Cry.
It was like a whole different story in that world. It wasn't just kind of like continuing the story of the same person, which is like, well, why wasn't it in the game in the first place?
Like, I really love Borderlands 2 DLC. It was like different stories within the world after you beat the game.
A bunch of different ones. I remember seeing
four main big ones and then smaller ones spread out.
Yeah.
But they were like, I mean, they were a couple hours long, and you know there was a season pass thing too.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
So yeah, it just bothers me with Destiny. To me, if it's on this, it's honestly like one of the biggest criminal.
Yeah, like I don't remember anything about the what is it, the Traveler.
Yeah,
like, we don't get any closure to that. You know, like they could have like somewhat closured it, and then the future games give us like now we're fighting back.
Yeah,
it seems like we're still trying to like. You know,
fight. We're still in the fight. Yeah.
And it's like it's not like we're done with the story.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna finish it off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's how I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, it's not like it didn't feel like the end of part 1. It felt like the end of chapter 1.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like imagine if Diablo only had Act 1 and then the rest was like, DLC.
Yeah.
Expansions.
Like what the fuck? Yeah, dude. And the whole thing is that they're calling it an expansion, not a DLC.
Yeah, if they call it DLC, fine, but it's an expansion,
which they can charge more money for, which is part of it, and it's not really an expansion.
Is it $34 each or $34 for both?
I don't know. I think it might be for both.
Okay.
But I think it's like 20, maybe like 25 for one. Maybe just I don't know. You know, it's one of those things where it's like a special. I don't know.
Yeah. But
either way, it's not $10. Like
15 the most usually.
Yeah, it's like 15 for like a DLC game, but not. 15 for a DLC little download, but this is gonna be extra, and all you're getting is like more maps, more story, a little more story.
I better get like automatic exotics.
So
if I get one exotic from the expansion, I think most people will be fine.
I'm not calling it an expansion anymore. No. Fuck that. It's a fucking DLC.
As far as we know.
Yeah, and I can't judge it till I see it. That's true. And plus, the motherfuckers have the sickest fucking DLC name of all time, House of Wolves.
There you go. House of Wolves.
That is like the fucking sickest name.
I'm gonna be so pissed. It's just the same enemies though.
Dude. I don't care if it's the same enemies. Just explain to me why the fuck they're enemies. Just let me know.
These 3 guys, like, okay, they're the darkness, but that's it. Like,
there's the fucking Cabal, the Vex, the Hive,
the
Fallen. Like, I don't understand why the fuck they hate me.
And they hate each other apparently.
Yeah, like why do they fight each other? What the fuck's going on? Like, what's going on with this story? I don't know what the fuck's going on. Stop cutting out parts of the game.
Maybe we need to play Vault of Glass. Maybe that. We haven't done that yet. Maybe that explains it.
Doesn't explain shit. Although we do need to play Vault of Glass because that looks sick.
Yeah, we're gonna get our shit pushed in so bad.
Yeah. First time, that's how it is.
Exactly.
That's how it is. But yeah, guys, what do you guys think? Do you think Destiny has it on this DLC, or is it really gonna be something
I'm
new?
curious how many of you that have Destiny aren't planning on getting the expansion. I just want to know, because I think a lot of people that do have Destiny, I think they are planning on getting the expansion even with this news coming out.
Yeah, dude, yeah, for
but
sure.
I just really want to know, like, how many people like are just like they're done.
Yeah.
With at least the expansion, they'll probably still play Destiny, but like, because it was one of those things like if you're still playing Destiny and you don't want to buy the expansion, you're gonna buy the expansion if your friends buy the expansion.
Yeah, you have to. Especially, yeah, because if you're doing the missions.
And I hope it's not like mandatory, like, you know, like it doesn't like a lot of those games that do expansions. It's kind of like you have to get the expansion, or else you can't really.
I don't know. I'm not well versed.
Yeah,
I'm not well versed in
it, but you feel super left out. Like there's no point. You have to get the expansion, especially if you put as much time in it as I'm assuming people do.
Yeah, for a game like this, I feel like you really do need to get the expansion, just because like if your friends are gonna be doing a mission,
or just other people. Too.
Yeah, I mean,
like you won't be able, like a lot of people are gonna be on the expansion while you're still doing the old stuff.
Yeah,
and I mean that's the thing. Like these games get repetitive sometimes, all the time, because you're just doing the same thing. So the expansion opens it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if you like the game, you're gonna want to get it. But like, the whole point is that if you don't like it, the funnest part of the game is just doing a mission with your friends or doing a strike. And if you can't, if you can't do it because they have the expansion and you don't, then you're gonna get it for sure. But how many of you guys are gonna get the expansion? We are gonna get it because we're like to complain about Destiny and still play it.
I already bought it. During this podcast, I was on the computer buying it.
I pre-ordered it. Fuck this game, man. All right, guys, we'll see you guys next week. Peace.